Kelly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Brown, thank you for your decades of service and welcome today. I want to talk to you a little bit about our military's close air support capability. We've discussed this issue at length a number of times, and you know how important this is to me. And you know that our ground troops and special operators depend on this capability, and it's often a life or death matter for them. And you and I have talked through some of the current planning that the Air Force is doing to transition to a future CAS capability. And in my view, the design of our close air support needs to stay centered on the guys on the ground. So, General, how will you achieve this same level of protection for those troops with future CAS solutions, and how are we going to avoid any kind of a gap?
Well, as we, Senator, appreciate the question, and as we talked in your office here a couple of months ago, it's the aspect of not only the platforms that we operate, it's the technology that we use, and still be able to use the basic tactics, techniques, and procedures we've used since we started doing close air support. It's the aspect of providing that capability and the dialogue and how we'll be able to move information electronically to be more responsive, at the same time have weapons that are highly precise to support our service members on the ground.
And one of my concerns here is, F-35's, multi-mission, a lot of capability in the airplane. I just ask that you continue to focus on this as a important mission for future fighters, including the F-35. And then I'm also concerned about the personnel that support our CAS community as we transition to these new platforms. Are there any plans to transition some of the skill sets that reside in our tactical air control and JTAC community today?
They are, and we're using their capability to help us in our command and control, as well as making sure those, the procedures that we already have, we do not let atrophy and continue to work that. And one thing I would highlight to you on the F-35 is many of our A-10 pilots that have a lot of CAS background are flying and going to F-35. As a matter of fact, I just met a captain here this past week who was just converted from the A-10 into the F-35. And those are the kinds of things we've got to continue to do to ensure we do not let the skill sets that we've had atrophy.
Yeah, it's a positive thing now, but when we look a decade from now, you're not going to have that same kind of transition. So I encourage you to continue to focus on this and make sure we retain the unique expertise of these other groups, not just the pilots, but the tactical air controllers and JTACs. I want to talk about another issue. I'm the only graduate of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy in Congress, as far as I know. So I pay special attention to our nation's maritime strength. We talked a little bit about that when Senator Gillibrand asked her questions. And I'm concerned that the U.S. investment is falling dramatically behind what the Chinese government has invested in terms of the size and modernization of each of our respective merchant fleets. Since the 1980s, there have been a series of policy decisions that have brought us down to a rather startling figure of just 80 U.S.-flagged merchant vessels operating in international trade, and 60 of those consist of MARAD's Maritime Security Program that allows them to contract U.S.-flagged vessels during times of war. So we have 80 ships. The Chinese have over 5,500. And they're the world's top shipbuilder, and they control ports that handle 67% of the world's shipping containers. As you know well, this impacts our ability to supply our own troops in conflict. You talked about how much different the Western Pacific is from Europe, islands, mobility, and logistical challenges. It also impacts trade and global supply chains in peacetime, and it's critical. I mean, this is the kind of capability that can't be turned on and off overnight. We need to invest now if we want to rely on it tomorrow. I know in your new role, there's a chance that you're going to need this capability. We also see some similar underinvestment in the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, which is under the Department of Transportation's purview, but it trains a lot of military officers and the mariners that will man those ships. Our nation's national security leaders cannot turn a blind eye to these capabilities simply because they lie outside of the military's and your immediate jurisdiction. And I think we really need to increase our focus here. So if confirmed, can I have your commitment to keep this concern top of mind as you enter into this new role as chairman?
Senator, if confirmed, you do have my commitment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kelly. Senator Tuberville, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, General.
Morning.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for your service in this talking